Hi there. If you had a milkshake and I had a milkshake and I drank your milkshake, did I really drink your milkshake? We'll get into it on this week's episode of Burn a Flick. Hi again, welcome back. This is Burn a Flick. I'm Jonah. I'm sitting here with Zach and Eugene. The movie we watched was There Will Be Blood.
There was blood.
There was blood.
The
There
movie delivered.
It
Delivered a lot.
like like Deliverance.
Like Deliverance, like the movie Deliverance.
Yeah, except it not really delivered anything, I'd say. But
I've actually never seen What even is that? What is
it's a movie about pretty mouths and
Yeah. Squealing like
squealing
pigs.
like pigs.
that? Okay.
If you ever seen South Park, they made an episode where they
Yeah.
had George Lucas and Steven Spielberg raping Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Squeal like a pig. Whee!
Okay. So, did your dad also watch There Will Be Blood?
I didn't talk to him since last week.
Okay.
So he might have, may or
Does he know that we're doing this?
yeah.
All right. Well,
I even asked him like, hey, if you watch it, call me and maybe we could have you do a little guest thing for like 5 minutes or something.
Mhm.
And then he immediately became like an introvert and was like, nah, I'm good.
well, for what it's worth, this one's for Jonah's dad,
This one's for you, Senior Grimes.
Mr. Jonah's dad.
Thanks, Jonah's
Mr.
dad.
Jonah's dad was my father. All right, well,
Mr. Jonah's dad was my father's name.
literally his first name is Mr. Jonah's dad.
Please, just call me Jonah's dad.
All right, so let's get into it. Jonah, you want to start us out?
Yeah, so There Will Be Blood, early 1920s period piece about a oil monger, Daniel Day-Lewis, aka Daniel Plainview,
Mm.
and the antagonist, or you kind of go either way. Who's the antagonist in this
That's
movie?
a whole ass discussion.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
The quote unquote antagonist of the movie is Paul Dano's evangelical priest. What? It could be Paul Sunday, aka Eli Sunday.
Eli Sunday. Yeah.
So-
The last time I saw this was, I think it was like 2009. It was like senior year of high school. And I had no idea what it was. I expected it to be more gory,
Mhm.
but when I first started watching, the intro is a guy digging. It's Daniel Day-Lewis digging in a hole.
Yeah, he is a he is a silver prospector.
Yeah, he was looking at rocks and like wiping the rocks, seeing if they're shiny. No, I didn't really remember all the plot points. I didn't really remember all the details. I remember the big scenes, like the bowling alley scene. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember the kid losing his hearing from the oil well, like bursting. Yeah. I remember the kid as an adult coming to Daniel Day-Lewis's character in his mansion, and that whole super awkward,
Yeah.
really sad conversation. I remember that. However, some of the story beats I didn't really remember. So I was kind of going into it with like fresh-ish eyes. It's so good. It's so good.
Especially when like
Yeah.
you can think about the movie a little stronger now,
Yeah.
because high school years to you now,
Mhm.
you can see different plot points that
Yes.
you missed before.
And I wanted to bring all that up because the Paul Eli situation. When I first saw Paul Dano come out on the screen and he introduced himself as Paul, what's his last name? Whatever his last
All
name.
Sunday.
Sunday. I'm like, he doesn't seem like a preacher. I forgot that he had a twin brother. I forgot about that whole plot line. So was kind of like an aha moment for me. I'm like, whoa, oh, okay, yeah. So he is a swindler, and he's just trying to get rid of trying to make a quick buck, I guess, and then just leave because we never see him again. Um,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was trying to get the money, right? He asked for $500.
yes.
What's my ADHD kicked in, and I just had to look up what was $500
What
worth
is
in
it? How much is it?
1911. So like $1,000.
Yeah.
Because I remember $5,000 in 1911, because he said that he brings in $5,000 weekly in income.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked up; it's equivalent to like $150,000. So when he asked for $500, it's like in between 20 grand right there. Maybe $15,000 to $20,000.
Okay.
So essentially, like
Pretty lowballing.
lowballing for information though. When he's just trying to get money and leave.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, not really, just for information.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're that's absolutely
And
true.
so when like you think Daniel Day-Lewis is like, why would I give you this money?
Mm-hmm.
And then when he said, if it doesn't turn out the way I want, I'm coming back for more than my money.
Yeah.
Essentially a threat to his
Mhm.
life, I'm assuming, or maybe some appendages on his hands.
Who knows? Well, probably not. He probably meant like legal action. He probably meant legal action, financial action, that sort of thing.
Yeah, he's more.
Because he runs a legitimate business, or he's attempting to. He does run a legitimate business, and being a legitimate capitalist is very important to him. However, there are moments
Yeah.
when he does some things, and but yeah. I think when he threatened that, he meant like legal action. Most likely.
More than
Yeah.
likely. But you think about this stuff, you're like when you're essentially an oil magnate at this, like, or working to that.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking a different story when he's starting out, right? I mean, yeah, at this point, he's like 11 years into his, 12 years into his process, but also trying to establish a standard, because what means more to him is his image as a family man, right?
I don't. Go ahead.
I think that makes him look more sympathetic to the sellers.
Yeah.
I think I think this goes into, like you said, that conversation at the very end of the movie, where I think at one point he probably did care for that kid.
Yes. We can talk about that.
Wait, sorry.
Yeah, he has a kid. Well, not his kid, a kid.
Yes.
His actual father died during a rig accident.
Yeah.
They
didn't even have a critique after.
No.
Crazy.
They were creating the first concept of an oil derrick, right?
Yes.
And out of wood and.
Well, I don't want to. Are you suggesting that he invented that, or
No, sorry. Like I remember he was drawing made the drawing for it.
Yeah.
And show how it would work. I'm not saying it's the first concept or the first concept, his concept on how to build it first.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it was out of wood, before he had any real capital.
Yeah.
It started out in 1899, right,
Mhm.
where he's at first mining in a small mine for silver,
Yeah.
and then he gets hurt, but he notices the possibility of oil at the
Yes.
same time. And from there on, skip probably a couple of days or months later, and he's not hurt anymore, and he starts the work for finding oil.
Mm-hmm.
So where do we go from there?
What? How did we get here? I thought we were talking about the sun.
Well,
Yeah.
we're getting
Yeah.
to that point.
Yeah.
So his father died working for Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel took responsibility of the son, and for whatever reasons, his name is escaping me right now.
HW.
HW. There you go. HW. And HW just kind of toyed around with him wherever he went. Wherever
Yes.
Daniel went, HW is right there. And I think that made him look extremely sympathetic to the sellers, regardless if they wanted to sell to him or not.
Yeah. The image of a quote unquote family run business is good for business.
Mhm.
Because I really like his pitch when he talks to, the townspeople, when he talks to investors, when he talks to people that he's trying to lease land from or buy land from. He starts off like a very like, oh, I'm just a regular old Joe. I'm an oil man, and I'm not like I'm just like you, and I'm working on the site, and like I am a people person. And look at my son. I have one. That makes me a family man. And family is important. Family's everything. Call me Vin Diesel. So like he definitely works that angle with the family. He definitely works the angle of him being like a regular old Joe, just like you and me. When in reality, he's not really a regular Joe. He is, uh, for all intents and purposes, a apex predator.
Oh yeah,
In terms of
he plans ahead, way ahead before he knows he's planning ahead.
yes. He
He's crossing all his T's and dotting all his I's.
dude, like, do you guys remember the part where he's camping out with his brother? Or not camping out. He's at the house with his brother, and he's opening up to him, and he's telling him how like he has this hatred inside of him. And I'm just like, this guy's crazy.
Yeah, I hate everyone.
Hey,
That hate's inside you too.
Yeah.
hatred is a big symbol or motif you can go for this movie. It's like,
Yeah.
it is the biggest concept or the thought process you can think of when it comes to how everything is laid out.
He reminds me a lot of Walter White. A lot of Walter White vibes. Obviously, this movie came out before Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad came out, what, 2008, right?
Yeah,
2008.
and this movie came out in
2007, I think. 7. So I guess you could say Walter White has more Daniel Plainview in him. Because
most
but,
certainly.
Neither here nor there. They're very similar characters in that there is something in them. Like, they have this deep grievance of like, I am a self-made man. I have ambitions and I want to achieve these goals. And if you're in the way, then I fucking hate you. And if you're questioning my ability to achieve my goals, I fucking hate you. How fucking dare you? There is an immense pride and like immense like, it's like toxic pride he has. However, I don't know if the movie that's one thing I love about this movie. The movie doesn't moralize him in an outright way. It just shows him who he is, and like it kind of lets the audience decide whether or not he is admirable. Because some people see this guy and they're like, wow, he's really motivated. What a go-getter. One thing that comes to mind is like when I watched Whiplash. I actually showed Whiplash to my family, and my grandma, her take. I don't know. You guys have seen Whiplash, right? My grandma's takeaway was, wow, that teacher was a really good teacher.
Yikes.
Because there are old people out there who are subscribed to this idea of like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, like let no one get in your way, achieve success, like the American dream, yada yada yada.
By any means necessary.
Yeah. So the movie doesn't outrightly moralize him as a monster. It just shows him as he is, to an extent, because I think at the end he kind of comes out to be a monster.
Yeah.
But throughout the journey, like you get to see him go through all that stuff.
You ever seen like a lot of Daniel Day-Lewis's movies where he really likes to take center stage? He likes to push his own boundaries onto other actors. And maybe this isn't it. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But there's a part where Paul Sunday was showing him on the map where the Sunday Ranch was.
Yeah.
And then when he put his finger on where it's at.
Yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis is standing right there on the table, and he takes his fingers and goes like, puts his finger on the map, and it's like, do you think he did that on his own accord? And then, because I feel as though he's just.
I don't really know.
I don't know. It's something that I looked at and I was like, diving
Here's
into
what I
myself.
think. Here's what I think. When it comes to
Because you wanted to.
some actors, directors don't really tell them what to do.
Yeah, they just let
They
them
just
fly.
give them their lines,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Here you go."
Spit him out some way.
Cameras rolling.
Yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis, like he's not the director because Paul Thomas Anderson,
Yeah,
right?
who's also a really good director.
Yeah. And he's like, all right, director. he goes to Daniel Day-Lewis, since you're directing this movie, even though my name's on it, do what you want, don't hurt me.
You're directing this character.
It turns out this movie didn't even have a script. They just let Daniel Day-Lewis kind of run around. And
Here, we're gonna let you grow your hair out, and then grow a mustache, and we're gonna put you in this ditch, and we're gonna see what happens.
the whole time on set, he just said, "I need more oil to roll around in. More oil.
Give me
And 2 steaks while you're at it.
this mustache isn't thick enough. Grows it out immediately.
No, 100%. He chose to do that. Everything that guy does is a deliberate choice.
Because he probably thought, like, my guy is a man of power, and he shouldn't be there submitting to somebody else's, power. And so, like, I'm going to take that center stage and put myself right there.
I think in that particular scene, I don't know if it was like a power dynamic. I think it's like a double verification dynamic. Like because for Daniel Plainview, once he gets started on something, he's gonna fucking finish it.
Yeah.
He's gonna follow it through to its bitter end. So if this guy tells him, here it is, he needs to know, here it is.
2 fingers, by the way.
Yes.
I made sure about it.
That's
He's
really
like-
interesting. I didn't notice that. That's really interesting. But he does a lot of like physical stuff, like small physical stuff that enrich the character. That I don't know. He just fucking disappears into this guy.
Well, even with there's a scene where he's looking at Eli's church
Yeah.
through his telescope.
Oh yeah.
And instead of like, because he's sitting in front of like his little his not workshop, but like
a little tent.
his little tent,
Yeah.
like overseeing the rig going on. And instead of like looking out in front of his house, he leans back a little bit to like look through the window so there's not a glare on the telescope. So like they're not seeing that he's just like looking at the church.
Yeah, I did see
I
that
didn't-
too. I didn't think about it too much, but I did remember that.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. No, I didn't pick up on that. I just thought he was being Snoopy and snooping. Which is, I mean, whatever.
Very Snoopy.
So his brother was what's his name from Game of Thrones, right? It was his brother.
Oh, really?
Or his no, sorry, not his brother, his number 2 man.
Who?
The guy, what's his name?
Oh, the guy that takes HW to the school.
Yeah.
Like he leaves his son on the train, and then that guy comes in to chaperone and
Yeah.
take him away. That guy.
Yeah.
Okay,
He
he
was-
looked familiar.
he-
what was he?
He was Game of Thrones. He was he used to be the Night's Watch, and he went to the in the north part of the wildlings.
Oh, okay, yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
He was the-
the king of the wildlings.
The king beyond the wall.
oh,
Yeah, King Beyond the Wall.
yes.
That was him.
Okay, yeah.
Took
Yeah.
me a bit to realize who he was,
Um,
and then I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
I just want to put that out there.
I did not pick up. Well, he looked familiar. I just didn't know from where. That's cool. Nice. I don't know if we answered the original question. Do you think Daniel Plainview loved HW?
I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he did because there's a scene where after when his father died
Yeah.
in the oil derrick incident, he got up and saw the baby crying,
Yeah.
and he was staring at him, and he's eating a sandwich.
Yeah.
Right? He was eating it was a ham sandwich or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know, whatever. It doesn't
Something.
matter. Irrelevant, I guess. And the next scene, the baby's crying, and he's kind of still dirty but cleaned up.
Yeah.
And then he's smiling with the baby. He picks up. He's sitting here because he's a tall guy and
Yeah.
he's very lanky. He shows the length of his body while he's standing here.
Uh-huh.
And he takes a swig of his whiskey
Yes.
and takes the baby bottle, puts the whiskey on there, and he's smiling. And then the next scene, when he's completely cleaned up and he realizes what he has to make his business ventures,
Yes.
he's on the train and the baby is playing with his shirt and he's just smiling there, shaking him with his on his leg.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like maybe a minute long shot while the train's moving away.
Yeah.
And he looks content with what he has.
Yeah.
Either maybe he really does care or he's already making his plan.
So what?
Well,
do you
I'm
think?
saying what I think
Yeah.
is, like I said, he either really does care about his kid, HW, and I think he does.
Okay.
Because maybe he loves him because this is what the universe or whatever he thinks wanted for him, is to have this so he can start the life he wants, and he's probably grateful for it.
I don't think so.
I think that he ultimately does care for HW because throughout this whole movie, family has been, like, obviously it's been put out there that he's a family man, which he might not have always been a family man, or he left home. He grew up, I think, in Wisconsin, they said.
Yeah, he grew up in Wisconsin, and then I think at one point he said he worked for the U.S. Geological Survey.
Mhm.
So that's probably how he knows how to dig.
Yeah, and he just kind of went out west.
and then and like he has a sister somewhere or
Mhm.
something like that. I don't really know the details of that. But he does have a deep respect for familial ties
Mhm.
because I think what were you getting at, like when he discovered that he had a brother and like
Mhm.
when he felt that he verified, yeah, this is my brother, like he started the fact that he opened
Yeah.
up, all that stuff.
He's like, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, not only do I have, the son, the son that I'm like really close to,
Yeah.
but now I have, an actual blood relative
Yeah.
that I can, share all my thoughts and dreams with.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah, as soon as that switch flipped and he found out that it was not his brother, obviously,
Oh man.
he didn't like that too
What
much.
do you I was trying to I knew it was coming. I
Yeah.
knew it was coming and I'm like, I forget what triggers him into realizing it's not him. Is it when like so I either think it's one uh when he's at the whorehouse and he asks him for money, all drunk and shit, and he keeps asking him for money, and just the way he like carries himself turned Daniel off, which caused him to doubt. I think that's either that might be the trigger, or it might even be earlier when they're on the beach, and like he's talking to him on the beach about something. I don't know. He was talking to him about something, but his brother like was like super bummed out for some reason on the beach, and like Daniel Plainview looked at him with like a look like, why are you so depressed, right? Maybe that was a trigger, or maybe a combination of both. I am not entirely sure what the mental math is going on in Daniel's head that led him to. I mean, what do you guys think? I don't know.
Actually, I think it could be both. It could be both. One thing it's strengthening his thought on it.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't initially like the first thing that came to his head, and then he started putting things together.
Is that my phone?
Probably.
Never mind.
Oh, it's totally your phone.
Yeah, that's my phone. All right, we'll edit this out.
Yeah, I watched.
Scam likely? Are you?
Ah.
How many? I felt like that's been ringing.
Oh, I just heard it at the same time you heard it. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. What were we talking about?
So I was.
Oh, the brother. Yeah.
Yeah. And when I was saying how, maybe it over time it started putting those pieces together, making really strengthening his thought on it. His skepticism.
Yeah. Like the interaction at the beach kind of planted the seed, and then like the way he carried himself at the whorehouse kind of like
That's usually how these
drove
things go. Anyway.
drove it home. Yeah.
We should start recording.
We are recording.
Oh, I thought you.
We never stopped. I marked it. I pressed the mark button
Oh.
to mark when to fucking do it. Yeah, I know. As long as this light is on, as long as the red light's on, we're recording.
Listen, you're not the tech guy.
We don't have the money for a real tech guy yet, so
I am the real tech guy.
sorry. A
Yeah.
legitimate role.
A roll.
What I mean, never mind.
Sorry, you said roll, and I started to think about bread. I'm really hungry right now.
No,
I would love a
roll.
dinner roll.
No, you're gonna star in the role of the film that they make about this podcast as the tech guy.
You know who didn't have bread? The people of Little Boston. Why didn't they have bread again?
The soil wasn't
Oh,
fertile.
well, it's their fault for living there.
It wasn't good. They didn't pray hard enough.
I want to talk more about the family. So,
You're talking about the Sunday family?
no, Daniel Plainview's conception of family.
Okay.
I don't think that when he received or like took custody of HW, I think he thought he loved HW. I think he thought he loved him. Like Daniel Plainview thought he loved HW. I don't think he actually loved HW. I think when the shit hit the fan, he found it very easy to not love HW.
It's probably just not his nature.
And the reason I say that is when HW lost his hearing, he kept HW around until the brother showed up. And once he realized that I can maintain this family man image with my brother, I don't need HW anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Let's send him off. Because that's when it happens. Like, he gets the brother, and then, like, yeah, that shit happens.
He was just not even a partner, just a ploy for what he was doing.
Yeah, and a part of the reason, like, that idea is reinforced in my head is they have another meeting with, like, who is it? Union Oil for the pipeline, right? And they meet, and he meets with his brother, and he presents him as his brother, and he's doing the family man shtick again. And his brother, by the way, doesn't say a fucking word. He just stands there. Mm-hmm. So, like, he's not he doesn't contribute his brain to this operation. He's just there to look pretty, to add to the family man image.
So the way he holds himself, the way he doesn't put anything in, it's just like, he can't be my family. He can't be my blood because he doesn't have these what he might assume that anybody in his family should have these
No.
attributes.
That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is he doesn't love HW because he easily replaces him with this brother. Because before the brother showed up, he kept him around. He kept him around even though he was deaf. He tried to work it out, right?
Yeah.
And even when but even when he kept him around, he wasn't happy about it. He wasn't sure how to proceed because he doesn't know how to like love someone without getting anything back. Because before, like, he was treating him as his son, loving him as his son, and his son, smart guy, smart kid, is able to essentially be a business partner, be a add to the facade of the family man image for the business. But once he loses his hearing and he can't really talk, he can't fill that role anymore. And when his adult business partner asks him, "Hey, what are you gonna do with HW?" he literally says, "I don't know." Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
So, like, he has no fucking clue what to do with this guy now that he's outlived. When I say this guy, I mean the kid. He has no fucking idea what to do with the kid once he outlives his usefulness.
He
just does. He has no fucking conception of like the easy answer is, I'm gonna be a father to my son
in a perfect world.
Yeah. Not even in a perfect world. In a not shitty world. It doesn't even have to be perfect. All it has to be is not shitty, which is a low bar. All you have to be is a dad to your kid, not a high bar, right?
You think You think him wanting to maintain the image of a family man? It would be in his best interest to make this work really in his favor.
He did try. He did try. He kept trying to talk to him, even though like he fucking couldn't hear, and like and I think the long-term plan was because he kind of questioned like, does the hearing come back? Like, how long is it gonna be like this? Like, and I think I don't know if it's true or not, but I think like when he sent him off to the school to the doctor, he was and talking to his business partners about like, and what can we do about like HW? We should look at other doctors, California, yada yada. He's trying to come up with solutions to get his business partner back. And he's not so much interested in HW as a independent human being. And the fact that he so easily replaces him once he gets a brother kind of reinforces my idea that Daniel Plainview literally doesn't know how to love someone. He just literally doesn't know how to do it. And I guess another way you could phrase that is he's incapable of actually loving someone.
Well, I feel like that has to be some family trauma right there.
I have no fucking clue because we don't know what his past is.
If he's
like Joker.
Yeah, if he moved away from his Wisconsin home at whatever age to be a geological surveyor and a prospector, and then just totally write his family off, not talk to him. I think there has to be some sort of family trauma. And I think his brother as well, just kind of, where did he pick up? I guess pick up like tuberculosis.
Yeah, he was somewhere in Texas, I think. I don't remember.
Far away from Wisconsin.
Yeah, because I don't fucking remember that the fake brother said like, they were somewhere, and I don't fucking remember. Yeah,
and if the fake brother story was actually the real brother story, then Daniel's brother has been in and out of prison for this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And just not having the greatest run at life. And then obviously comes down with tuberculosis and passes away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think family, at least in the Plainview family, is very connected and together.
Yeah, which is really interesting because of how much he loves the idea of family, how much he reveres the idea, how much he gets offended when someone suggests to him that he's not having a good family, that he's not being a good father. Or do you think that has more to do with family, or do you think that has more to do with having your house in order, like that sort of thing? I know it's like a fine line, having your house in order and having a good family, but I do think there's a difference there. Do you think he gets more offended? When I say offended, I'm talking about the Standard Oil guy who tries to buy him out, and suggests like, think of your son, like that whole deal. He gets super offended at that. That's when I say gets offended by the whole family thing. That's what I'm talking about. Do you think he gets super offended because of that comment, due to his reverence of keeping a good family, or do you think he gets offended by that comment as an attack on him not being able to have his affairs in order?
I mean,
does that question make sense?
It does make sense. Well, now that once you ended with the having his affairs in order thing, I think it leans more to that.
Okay.
I think it does,
because what you said suggests that like family's not that big a deal to him.
But it's having the image that his family's put together.
Yeah, the image.
He really just cares about the image. For that's the more we talk about that, is the more I realize that is it. But he only cares about the image of being a family. Even in a summary of this movie, you could probably look her up, and then people would say the same thing.
I agree, but I also think he's envious of people that have that.
Yeah.
And something he's never had. And at the end of the movie, he has everything. He has a bowling alley in his basement.
Yeah.
He literally is shooting his rifle at chandeliers
But,
in his hallway.
Yeah.
But before, at
But-
one point, he had a brother, he had a son,
Mm-hmm.
and he had everything, and it was all going for him until himself
Yeah.
threw it all away.
Here,
I
yeah.
don't think he knew how to love, though. Like you said, I don't
Yeah.
think because he grew up in probably a toxic household where love was not portrayed,
Mm.
and family disbanded, went their separate ways, and he didn't know how to reciprocate. Reciprocate
Mhm.
that love that was given to him from other people, whether it was his family or not. Because even his fake brother,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, just wanted to keep his brother's story alive, regardless if he was lying or not.
Yeah.
The sentiment was there, a little shady. Probably could have done it differently,
Yeah.
but he just wanted to make Daniel a little bit happier
Yeah.
in one way or another.
I don't think he was entirely malicious.
No.
With his sneakiness about that whole thing. I think the fake brother guy definitely has problems too.
Yeah.
But I think he was just looking for purpose in life, and and then he just got one to the head.
Yeah.
Dude, the way he killed him is very like it was very like abrupt and like fucking like unceremonial. Like
Mhm.
he was just like, pop, and it was very yeah.
It's not like where you expect them to go.
Yeah,
They just like threw it away.
Well, I know I had a very strong feeling. Even like the first time I watched this movie, I had a very strong feeling like, oh, he's gonna die.
Uh-huh.
Like the way that Daniel Plainview is talking, his tone of voice, the way like the fake brother is just like kind of lying down and like looking like in a super vulnerable position.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, there's no way this guy's gonna come out of this alive. And I was like waiting, like, all right, when's he gonna shoot him? When's he gonna shoot him?
Mm-hmm.
And then he asked him, like, who are you? Like, what was the fucking farm and whatever the fuck? And I'm like, this guy's fucked.
Yeah.
Although the first time I watched it, I was surprised. I didn't expect it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just when I was watching, I was more of a naive person, but I'm like, oh yeah, he has a brother now. Okay. At no point did I wonder like, is this guy a real guy? Like, but that's besides the point. Oh, what was I talking about? I forget what I was talking about. You were talking about. I wanted to jump off what you were talking about, and then I started fucking. God damn it!
Last thing I said was about how he was envious of the people that had what he didn't.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
at the end of it, he had everything except that one thing.
Yes, because at the end, he doesn't look happy. He's not satisfied. He just fucking looks miserable. So yeah, like what fucking hit the nail on the head with that. He has everything and yet he has nothing.
Let's take it to
Yeah.
I guess it would be like the end of probably not the end of the first act, maybe the middle of the first act, when he goes to the Sunday ranch, right?
Yeah.
And I saw this movie 2 years ago. It was after deployment. We got home. I was on my apartment at the time. It was my first time watching it, and had been wanting to watch it for a very long time. And I saw it on Netflix, and I saw Paul Dano and Daniel Day-Lewis. I'm like, interesting combination too, because at this point, 2007, 2008, Paul Dano is still relatively, not.
He's been in stuff. Like he plays a lot of side characters.
He was in Little Miss Sunshine as essentially the purposely not speaking son. He was 18 years old in that movie, playing a 14-year-old kid.
You said you watched this in 2017?
No, after our deployment in
2021. Oh, okay. Oh, that was the first time you watched it?
Yeah. It just one of the, at the time, wasn't when I first heard about the movie. It was also when I was first getting into the idea of liking movies.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I was just waiting for the best time to watch it.
Okay, yeah.
But then it was when I first watched it and saw Paul Dano. I already had like a better liking of him because I've seen so many other movies he was in, and
Yeah.
and I think every single time he's in a movie, he does it really well.
He always, he always plays like the creepy guy. I feel like he has a creepy guy
Well,
face.
yeah, like he was in Prisoners, and his interactions with Hugh Jackman in Prisoners was great.
Yeah.
And well, when I watched it, and maybe I just wasn't dissecting it too much before we started doing this.
What, Prisoners or this?
No, this movie.
Okay, yeah.
Well, before we started doing podcasts.
Yeah.
And that's when I started really digging into movies more, I guess. And I'm thinking Paul Dano, there's Paul Sunday, and then Eli Sunday. I was thinking, what if at the entire time I never thought I was thinking, no, it's the same guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because and I'm thinking, whoa, what if like he was just really he's a swindler?
Yeah.
What if at the end of the day he was actually
The priest.
the priest and swindling even more?
Ooh, that's like double Inception.
Yeah. Like what if like his entire not a family is in on it.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he knew
yeah.
this would be the case because one twin smart and then
Yeah.
the other twin just as smart.
Hmm.
He's thinking he knows that this guy when he's trying to ask to buy the ranch, he's like he's gonna try and lowball us with with our land, take
Yeah.
his oil. He's like, no.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what are
yeah,
you gonna
yeah.
give us? What's in it for us?
Yeah.
At first, he was very, welcoming and very, helping.
Yeah,
He's like,
do you remember the first time Daniel and HW see
yeah, they looked surprised because they had
Yeah.
no idea, but they
They're
didn't look
like-
too surprised. He kept his composure. He
but
looked
no,
surprised.
but he was definitely surprised.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a short moment where like he looks surprised and then he gets closer and then like Daniel kind of realizes, oh, this is the twin brother. And then like his face kind of changes into like normal face. But oh my god, that is so good acting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So good acting. Anyway.
But no, it is great. It is good acting. Are you talking about for both of them or Daniel Day Lewis?
No,
and
I was saying
HW?
Daniel Day-Lewis because he doesn't say a fucking word.
No, he
He
just
sees
goes
him.
on.
He sees Paul Sunday walking towards him, and then he's shocked.
He probably
see him, right?
He-
And then he gets
yeah.
closer, and then he realizes this is a different guy,
Mm-hmm.
and then he just goes into regular person mode.
And what I was thinking is, yeah, he thought it was a different person.
Yeah,
But also thinking, what if he's like the other guy?
What if-
Eli
what if-
is
yeah, yeah.
is the
Is Paul.
Kaiser
What-
Soze
what
of
if-
this,
yeah,
And he's playing him just from the get go.
yeah,
That was my first thought, and then I watched the second time and
yeah,
read more. Like, okay, it's a twin. It is a twin, and
yeah.
but it isn't really like
It's brought up one time.
it's
Yeah.
brought up one time. Says, and then the father's like his twin brother. I think it's the father actually mentioned. a
No,
twin.
no. Wait, does the
Oh
father?
no, Eli mentions a twin, right?
Oh, sorry. When I say like it's brought up to, is it brought up more than once?
I vaguely remember
Did the
now. the father
did the Sunday father bring it up at one point?
I don't remember who
No,
brought it
no,
up,
I
but
don't remember.
I definitely
know-
remember the first time I watched this,
Yeah.
thinking that Eli and Paul were the same guy.
That's what I was thinking.
I thought, and I'm like, man, like Eli or Paul, whoever. I think Paul was who I thought was the real one.
Oh, okay.
I thought
Yeah.
Paul was the real one, and I'm like, man, he's really got like his family just like corrupted and like around his finger, like thinking like that because they're all calling him Eli,
Yeah.
and not once do they call him Paul.
Yeah.
And if anything, maybe Paul is his alter ego, and he's like,
well,
Yeah.
There's if you look back at it, honest
Yeah.
to God, there's not much context on.
There is one very clear indication of the twin brother being mentioned, and it's the last scene of the movie
Mhm.
when he says, "I met your brother. He's the one who sold it to me. You're the afterbirth. He's the smart one." And like he just fucking Eli, he just loses it at that point. I mean, he's already been lost it in that scene, but yeah, that was that's the one clear mentioning of the twin that I remember.
I mean, Eli never really got much time to get a word out to.
Also true.
Wham.
Yeah.
if anything, this is saying that he doesn't have a twin. If he does have a twin, then cool.
Yeah.
the movie might say that. I don't know because I missed it. But if he doesn't,
yes.
and the reason that Daniel Plainview is like Paul was the better one,
yeah.
that could have been just Daniel basically giving like a backhanded comment saying like, you lost your shit. You lost your shit, Eli. You used to be good. You used to be like, hot in the business, but now look at you. You're crawling back to me for money because like, that's around like the Great Depression right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
He was a drunkard gambler.
and he like Eli lost it. Eli lost it all, and he's crawling back to Daniel for more money.
Mm.
He's not Paul anymore. He's Eli. Paul's the shifty one. Paul's the planner. Paul's the...
Paul is... What was the movie you watched with Edward Norton again? Where he was...
Fuck.
And I'm the one who mentioned it, too.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, well, it was those two characters,
Primal Fear.
Primal Fear.
Primal Fear.
There was no Kenny, whatever his name was. It was always me.
Yeah.
It was always Paul.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
I don't think.
No. It is actually very clear to me now that they're twins.
I do think it's a twin situation, and
But I can keep making arguments that it isn't.
Even if it isn't, I don't think Daniel Plainview would get Kenny'd. I think he'd pick up on it, and he would operate knowing that, Paul, Eli, they're the same guy.
You don't think he would use it to his advantage?
He would use it to his advantage. That's exactly what I'm saying. He'd use it to his advantage, and he wouldn't get tricked. That's what I think.
He would have sniffed it out from the beginning, and just and then played it by ear, or played it step by step. Yeah, of course, probably, more than likely.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could probably make arguments through a 3-hour movie to figure out maybe that's what it was going for, because it's one smart businessman, out for blood. Yeah. And then one smart businessman out for blood at the same time. It's kind of like going almost like not even a head-to-head thing, but it's a.
I think this movie
would have been a good concept for it.
Is amazing.
Yeah.
Because the entire time I'm watching this, the second time around, I'm realizing this movie's about America, and it's about America has two dark sides. It's crazy obsession with capitalism, and it's crazy evangelical Christian roots. And here, this movie, you have two of those crazies button heads with each other, going toe to toe. But in the end, the money wins.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, when they made the church, right, or when they, and then Eli pretty much like absorbs Daniel's, Daniel Plainview into the church to be religious. Was Daniel was he like actually like almost falling into it, or was he just playing it?
What?
I think he was playing.
He was 100% playing.
Right?
I don't know if you watched it with subtitles. I watched it with subtitles. During that scene, it's really hard to hear what Daniel Plainview's saying because everybody's screaming, a lot of people are yelling. Daniel Plainview actually says, well, there's the pipeline during that whole thing. So he knows that he's doing this for the pipeline.
Oh, yeah, I watched it on Pluto, and I couldn't get...
Yeah, here's another thing. I want to talk about that. I also try to watch it on Pluto, right? I was watching it, and first commercial came up, and I saw the runtime. I'm like, this is not a 3-hour and 4-minute movie. There's no fucking way. So I checked the runtime. It's actually 2 hours and like 40-some minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Am I really going to watch an extra 20 minutes of fucking commercial? No. I went and spent $3, $4 to rent it. So that's what I did.
I watched it on Pluto.
Yeah, on a
that was rough.
Yeah, it was. On a real level.
Yeah.
Normally for an hour movie like that, I would pay for it, but it was also free. So I was like, I could sacrifice 20 minutes of my.
Here's another thing. I watched it. I watched it the night before. Not last night, but last night, and I didn't want to go to sleep that late, so I'm like, oh, fuck it.
Well, yeah, I got an hour into it, obviously with commercials, an hour into it, and I paused it to see how much time was left, and it said like 2 hours and some odd minutes, and I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me! Like it's 10 o'clock right now.
Yeah. I do want to just briefly say that the pacing, the editing, the framing, this is one of those things where like I don't know enough about filmmaking. I don't know enough about the technical side of it. But something about this fucking movie, I can't take my eyes off the screen, and the movie has me by the balls for a long ass time.
You know what I think it is?
Yeah.
It's the way it's made is meant to like provide so much dread, not dread, but like
Yeah.
they not dragged out, but very stretched
Extended,
out,
yeah.
extended visuals.
Yeah.
And you're waiting for what's
There's
going to happen
no like
next.
fast cuts or anything. Like it's a very deliberate movie.
And you're like,
The music.
yeah, that too.
Okay, yeah.
But
yeah.
you're waiting for the next thing to happen. If you feel like it's going this long, at any moment it'll change. If you miss it, even if you miss a second of it, you're gonna miss a lot of the context.
But go ahead.
The soundtrack across the whole movie is chilling
Yes.
and suspenseful and full of strings just screaming and
It's on par with a good horror flick.
yeah,
too.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, it is a horror flick. He is the monster.
Mm-hmm.
He's under your bed,
He is under your bed.
Daniel-
in
blame
your
me.
closet. Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is there to take that oil, make money, and destroy his and whoever's life he has to.
There's the pipeline.
Gonna drink everyone's milkshake.
Everyone's milkshake.
Everybody's.
Nobody's milkshake is safe.
No.
You know, the first time I watched this movie, I didn't understand the metaphor.
Yeah.
But this time watching it, I understood it. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a reservoir, and like everybody is taking from the reservoir, and like I get it now. I understand the milkshake.
hmm
The milkshake makes sense to me now.
I, El Rosario. Remember, we all remember him.
Yes.
And when I told him about the movie, when I watched it, and we were talking about it,
Mhm.
and then he did it. I drink your milk. He did. Rosario is always going all out. He's like and just overdoing it. I drink it up. Well, that whole scene was like maybe 15 minutes long.
It's so good.
And it wasn't dragged out. It was chock full of drama, fear.
Yes.
It was chock full of freaking just dread, existential fear.
There's just so much fucking charge
Yes.
in every fucking moment.
I felt like I was there, and I was like, man, where's the door? I need
Yeah.
to leave, and it's locked right now.
Well, and it's really crazy when the power shifts because when initially the scene starts with Daniel on the floor, he's passed out, drunk, whatever. He's passed out in the bowling alley, and Eli walks up, smug as
Yeah.
he's ever been,
dressed nicely.
dressed nicely.
With he's got
Boa?
a cross. It's like a very jewel
Yeah,
like sparkly cross or something.
he's got bling on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got
He's-
exactly. Yeah.
He's got some ice. He's freezing in there, man. It's
Yeah.
icy.
He's walking up there super breezy, and he wakes Daniel up, and the power is in his hands. Like
Yeah.
power is his, and then when that shifts, it shifts hard. It shifts
Yeah.
Yes.
hard, quick, swift. Daniel has it.
I gotta watch that scene again.
He
Yeah.
takes he
I gotta watch that scene
essentially
again.
he grabs him by the nutsack. Not literally, of course, but like figuratively.
Yeah.
He just grabs him and then takes away what high horse he's in.
Yeah.
Cuts it down, sells it for more oil, right? And then sells the oil. And yeah, it's a huge power shift there, and that's something that's it's hard to see in a lot of movies that people do that.
This movie is not. This movie's built different.
Not for the faint of heart, all right?
Um.
Any gore movie you've seen is nothing compared to like what you feel when watching this scene alone.
Yeah, because gore doesn't really gore. It can provide a visceral reaction, but it does nothing for in like a movie sense. It's I don't know. it doesn't hit as hard as a well constructed drama scene. Yeah.
Let's pick apart that last scene then, from beginning to end.
Okay.
Take it away.
When you say pick it apart, you mean like
From beginning to end. Let's obviously we said it's a power shift.
yeah.
We already said he comes in with the nice clothes. He's on him, and he's ready to go. He's ready to attack.
Yeah.
He's ready for his maneuver, and thinking that this guy is like very vulnerable, but really he's just he's playing a.
I don't exactly remember the sequence of conversation topics. I don't exactly remember.
If I had connected the Bluetooth earlier, I would bring up that scene. We can just listen to it.
Yeah.
At least from the beginning.
Oh,
I can't. Maybe next time.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Jonah kind of like gave a pretty good synopsis of that. And like the whole power shift dynamic.
And then the end. Then we talk about the end there. Well, we did. Where we talked about. We've already brought it up. The milkshake thing where he's what does he kill him with?
A bowling
pin.
Yeah.
A bowling.
Bashing his head in, his face in.
No, oh man, I really want to talk about that. So he's running across the lane, or he's running down the lane. Eli is to run away, and then he's running down the lane, and then and Daniel like catches up to him, hits him, and he falls down. Not dead, because like he just falls down because he got knocked out, and then this is really interesting. Daniel kind of looks at him on the ground, and then like the gears start turning, and then he's like, "Fuck it."
Yeah. He's like, it's already there.
I'm rich. I could get away with
this. This is also the early 1900s.
And then his fucking dude comes down, and he's like, and the dude comes down, and he sees like his bloody, like destroyed head on the floor, and he sees Daniel Plainview lying next to him, and then he's not even phased. He's like, "Sir, are you do you need anything?" What does he say? I forget what he says. He says something.
I can't remember.
I think it's along the lines of, "Do you need anything?" And Daniel just
is everything all right?
Yeah, is everything all right? And Daniel just sits up like, "I'm done now."
Yeah,
I'm good. You can take my stuff away now.
I'm done now.
Yeah. What?
I win. It was the last thing he said to him, right? To Eli.
Oh yeah. He's basically he Gus Fringed Eli. I win.
Well, he turned him into essentially Gus Fring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eli was Gus Fring.
I'm just trying to make a Breaking Bad connection. I don't think that's a very good connection though.
I know it's the same
because Gus Fring himself is a very formidable opponent. I don't think Eli. Gus Fring never came down to the level of Eli, like groveling, sniveling. So
no.
that's not a good comparison. Forget that. We'll edit that one out. Okay.
Well,
no, but you know how I said in the fake brother scene, I felt like at a certain point I realized this guy's fucking dead. Second time watching, I think I found the moment that Daniel Plainview decided to kill Eli.
Oh.
And that moment was when he came to the church because he needed that pipeline. He needed to build that pipeline. And he came to the church to repent of his sins.
To get the blessing. Yeah,
to get the blessing. And everything's going fine. And he's going up there. He gets on his knees, really annoyed, but whatever. He's doing it for the pipeline. And then Eli says, "You abandoned your boy." And then he looks at Eli like he wants to fucking murder him.
Yes.
But he's doing it for the pipeline, so he has to fucking keep it in. And like, that was the moment I realized, oh, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote his fate is sealed.
Yeah.
He's gonna kill him.
Doesn't matter now or later. It's gonna happen eventually.
He addressed his failure.
Yeah.
He killed him out of pure hatred.
Yes.
He hated him, but not because of the blessing, but because it affected, his image and what he wanted.
Just that one line
Mm-hmm.
crossed the line. Making him say that crossed the line. And
I abandoned my boy, and he kept saying,
yeah, dude, you could see the veins in that guy's head when he screams. Like,
I wonder, like,
oh my god,
what goes through Day-Lewis's head when he's like charging himself up to do a certain scene, or because he's very methody, right? He's a method actor, I'd say.
Well, I think what went through his head at that moment was that he had abandoned his boy. I think that was going on. He yeah.
I don't think he wanted to address it ever. That he had this, I think, like HW
Yeah.
was a project,
Ah.
and it was a failed project,
Oh,
and he didn't want to address that.
Okay.
And then his adversary made him address it in front of a group of people
Yeah.
that he also didn't like. Well, he didn't like anyone.
Yeah.
he wasn't willing to address it to himself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think not only the fact that he didn't like this group of people, because like you said, he doesn't like it. Particularly this group of people, he doesn't respect because he thinks they're all stupid. They kind of are.
They are.
Yeah.
But
He stole the
Yeah.
words right out of my mouth.
and what the second time watching, what made me like really like pinpoint that scene where the moment that he decided to kill him is earlier when the oil guy was mentioning like, think about your boy. He gets super riled up, super spun up as soon as you mention like him not being a good father, him not being able to care for his boy, like the boy for like that particular role. He's very, very protective of, and he really, really gets offended.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of reinforced that idea. When Eli says you abandoned your boy, I'm like, you just abandoned your life when I was saying that.
Was Eli also at the time doing this? Doing the priest thing,
Yeah.
because he really was into that, or really he just wanted to have that power.
I don't know. I think I am
Did you
not
think-
sure.
Did you think about this too?
I think a
I
little
did
bit
think
of
of-
both.
Right? Maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly because he saw his in. He saw his like, this is his meal ticket, or maybe not meal ticket, but this is his power. He has this, and he has this massively wealthy or soon to be wealthy man on his freaking knees.
Yeah.
I think both Paul and Eli have a way with their charisma and a way of talking to people and persuading them to do things and
The two
believing.
dark sides of
yeah.
America.
Paul Dano, he's really good. I like when he does that thing where he plays the calm guy,
Yeah.
very very timid,
He's
and then
so good.
and then he goes like, oh, why?
He's so good.
I think of all people, like we always talk about, underrated, actors who are just the supporting role.
Yeah.
You have Giovanni Ribisi is one of them, in my opinion. I think he's underrated, especially when he did in Saving Private Ryan. And then others.
Is he the sergeant?
No, he was the medic.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was the medic. Not in the whole movie, of course.
Yes.
And then and Paul Dano. Paul Dano, his roles. Yes, he plays weird stuff, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Batman he did great in.
Oh yeah.
A little bit Sunshine he did great in, especially for that kind of.
Oh, he was in this movie called I believe it's called Love and Mercy, where he plays it's a biopic about a band, I believe the Beach Boys. He plays the main singer of the Beach Boys.
The main Beach Boy.
The main Beach. Yes. He plays the younger version of him, I think, and the older version is played by someone else. I forget.
He's also in Swiss Army Man.
Yeah,
Swiss Army.
Yes.
How did I forget about Swiss
Well,
Army? Man?
I was passing by. I was like, oh my god, 12 Years a Slave. 12 Years a Slave is a great movie.
What was he? What did he do?
He was one of the owners of the plantation, or he was the son of the plantation, and he was just fucking around with Solomon Northup's Chiwetel Ejiofor's character.
Oh, was he just being a dick?
Yeah, and he was making him sing
Okay.
songs and
Oh,
you know,
okay, all right.
until it came back to bite him, of course.
Yeah.
What else? He was in
I've seen that movie once.
Love and Mercy.
I've
Yeah.
never seen it again.
Night and Day was the movie I really didn't like.
Night and Day, is that the
Tom
Cruise and what's her face?
Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, but he was
I was about to say Candace Owens.
Candace Owens. Yeah, exactly.
Nowhere near the same people. Anyway.
Yeah, but he's oh yeah, he was also the future antagonist in Looper.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was. Yeah.
Yeah, like
A lot of oddball roles.
Yeah.
He's really good in all of them though.
he really puts it together.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
he was in
this movie like seriously put him on the map.
100%.
And I think like he should have blown up more than he actually did.
It's
but-
because he doesn't have the leading man face.
I disagree. I think there are plenty of weird looking dudes that are leading men these days.
Or maybe he's just
I just think he prefers weird roles, and he prefers to do interesting weird things. And those are the projects that he's interested in. And he actually directs. He directed this movie called something animals, something creatures. Fuck.
What
What
are you
was it called?
talking? Is that movie where it starts out really weird? Nocturnal Animals?
No. He
couldn't-
directed this movie called Wildlife. I believe it's Wildlife. Can you Paul Dano, Wildlife. That's that movie. By the
Oh.
way, it has nothing to do with wildlife.
Yeah,
It's-
Paul Dano, Wildlife, 94%.
I love that movie, and that movie's about
Gyllenhaal.
that movie's
Ah,
about a
you lost me.
family.
So
Oh, wait, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, no, yeah.
What movie?
Anyway, great movie. I loved it. Paul Dano directed. He not only is a weird actor who does weird acting roles, he is also a very good director. That was my point. That's my
Okay,
point.
yeah.
Point made.
And point taken.
Yes. Taken. You have taken my point.
I will take your
Um,
point.
Yeah.
I'll take point.
You
I'll watch you guys take the points.
Wait, you really don't like Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, the movie Covenant looks decent.
what's Covenant?
The Covenant is about I think it's an Iraq war movie or Afghanistan war movie.
Jarhead.
Another one?
Jarhead.
It's except
I've
the-
seen that movie. I've seen that movie.
No, well, it's about a guy who goes and finds a translator. I don't know. It looks decent.
I've seen that movie. I think Ben Affleck was in that movie.
All these movies.
Sriana?
No, this one's coming out. It hasn't come out yet.
I'm talking about the Ben Affleck movie about the translator in the Middle East during the Middle
Oh.
East War.
Damn, I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Argo.
Argo. Oh,
No, that's
That's Ben Affleck.
that's also
Ben
Ben
Affleck.
Affleck. Yeah. I don't think translators are really involved though.
no, 'cause
Just
it-
diplomats.
Yeah, just
it's
diplomats.
based on actual events.
Anyway, Jake Gyllenhaal. He's a guy.
Yeah.
Wait, have you seen Donnie Darko?
We're doing this again.
This is probably like your third or fourth podcast.
That I've asked that question.
Yeah, we talk
No,
about.
because no.
You
The
can't-
reason
you can't talk about Jake Gyllenhaal without mentioning nobody.
Yeah.
Can.
No, because
Nobody can.
I watched Donnie Darko recently. My mom came to visit last weekend, and my mom, my brother, and we went clay shooting. We went to the casino. We went to both casinos. We went to Mohegan,
Balling.
and then like she was convinced that there was a Chinese restaurant at Mohegan. It was like a super high end Chinese restaurant. I'm like,
No, it's at
Mom, I think
Foxwoods."
you're thinking about Foxwoods. I think, and she's like, No, it's at Mohegan. I remember. I'm like, Mom, you don't even live here. I live here. I'm telling you, no, it doesn't exist. And then she saw this thing called Tao, Asian Bistro and Bar, and I'm like, and she says, "This is it. This is the restaurant." I'm like, "No, that's like a club, Mom. That's not a restaurant." And then she's like, "Yeah, it is. Yeah, let's go." And then we went there, and like it's closed because it's a club. They're not open in the afternoon. And she was like, "Oh, I guess it was Foxwoods." I'm like, "Yeah, it was." And
I
then
can say you're right.
and then she didn't want to. We were hungry, so we ate there, and she still wanted Chinese food. So there's this like place called Fantasia, no relation to the Groton Vietnamese Fantasia, no relation at all.
Okay.
And we went over there expecting a Chinese restaurant. It's a fucking food court. It's a food court with Chinese food. So like we went and we're already there, so we just got food, awful food, terrible. And then my mom said, Mohegan Sun sucks. I don't want to gamble here. Let's go gamble at Foxwoods. And I'm like, the gambling is the same. It's the games are the same.
It's not going to be better for you.
And then we went to Foxwoods. She didn't even gamble. She gave me and my brother $200 to play blackjack. We didn't lose our money, so that's a plus. I won $50. He won $120. He's 18, so I don't know. Like they didn't check his ID or anything.
You should have drank his milkshake.
So you watched
Anyway.
Donnie Darko
And,
with
yeah,
your family.
and then we watched Donnie Darko later that night. Yes, because my mom loves Jake Gyllenhaal. And she really liked him in Prisoners, and she just likes him a lot. And when he showed up in Donnie Darko, she was like, "Oh my God, he's so young!" And then I told her the trivia thing about Maggie Gyllenhaal and how she plays her sister or his sister, and their sister and brother and sister in the movie. And then she says, "Go suck a fuck," classic scene. What
So
what
I
are we,
can't.
what are we talking about?
I feel as though my next movie, if I chose a Jake Gyllenhaal movie,
Yeah.
we wouldn't see
Oh
him
shit, dude!
next
Is
week.
it my turn to pick? I didn't.
It is your turn,
I didn't
actually,
even
yeah.
think about picking a movie.
Are we finished? I think we covered.
No,
There's
we
a
didn't.
long-
I don't think we
there's
did.
a lot
I don't think
more-
we did.
I don't
but
think we did, but we all have lives to live.
All right. Well, I mean, luckily this is for people to want to watch it. So
Yeah. All right, off the cuff. Let me think here. Not Jake Gyllenhaal. Nothing with Jake Gyllenhaal. I could do that.
We need a third person.
Oh wait, how about? Well, do you remember when I presented the choice and we picked one movie? Let's do the other movie, Blind Spotting.
Blind Spotting.
Blind Spotting, 2018 release. Blind Spotting is the flick for next time. I believe that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is it.
See you guys next time.
Hey, make sure to drink the milkshake.
Slick. 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 Burn. Burn. Burn a flick. Burn a flick. Burn a flick. Burn a flick. Slick.